Hi, everyone. My name is Priscilla Santana, and I'm the exercises medicine coach. Thank you all for joining this presentation today. Today, we will be talking about exercises medicine, what we are about, and how you can become more active. For starters, I am a former Rutgers student. I graduated in May 2020 with my bachelor's degree and in exercise science with a minor in nutrition. And now I am in graduate school at Texas A&M studying sport physiology, where I work with the women's basketball team and the cross country team. But I still get to work with college students as well, and I enjoy both aspects of the field. So for starters, I really would like to know, what are you looking to get out of this presentation yourself? What made you attend today's presentation, and what stands in your way when you're trying to move more? So if you can answer those questions in the chat for me, that would be great. And I'll give you a few minutes to answer that. Awesome. Looking to become more active. Awesome. And so it seems that we are all really trying to have some tools to help each other become more active and just have more resources and know the resources that are available to us today. And so that is what we'll be learning throughout this presentation. And if you have any questions throughout this presentation, feel free to ask. I do want this presentation to be as interactive as possible. And so we will be using the chat a lot throughout this presentation. Now, what is exercises medicine on campus, and why was Rutgers one of the universities to pick this program up? Well, this program was first started as a global initiative to bring healthcare professionals and fitness professionals together. It was created by ACSM. And the goal was to be able to prescribe exercise, find ways to prescribe exercise before medication. Now, that's not saying that medication is not important, but with cases such as obesity or overweight, even mental health such as depression or anxiety, we're going to learn today that exercise can really help with all these situations that can happen in one's life. And I think it's so important that we have programs like this. And so specifically at Rutgers, we've been considered a gold campus since 2018. And our goal really is to get students to move more, find activities that they enjoy. The one thing that is going to be really big in this presentation that you'll learn is that moving and exercising is not just in a gym, it's not just in a weight room, it's doing so many other activities outside of that. And we want you all to find something that is challenging but yet comfortable at the same time that you will enjoy, whether it's by yourself or with a group of people. And so listed here on this screen are just some of our goals on Rutgers that we really want to make sure we're providing for students. And again, we work in conjunction with Hurtado and with CAPS to make sure that students are provided the best resources on campus to be able to move more. Now, how would you describe your current physical activity level? Thinking about how the semester's going, thinking about, we're just getting out of COVID, if you want to put it that way. We're in a post-COVID era. What is your current physical activity level, and how do you feel about that? Yep. So we're getting different responses. Some people felt that during COVID, they haven't been moving as much, and so they're finding themselves sitting a lot more. Um, it definitely can be better. Um, so yeah, no, you're definitely right, and I think that goes for all of us. I think COVID um, showed us that we have become a more sitting culture, and we do need to find ways to move more. And so again, that is one thing we will be learning about in this presentation. And so it is important to recognize that and be aware that yes, you probably have been sitting a lot more. How can we change that? The first thing to recognize is, what is physical activity? Okay. And physical activity, described by ACSM, which again are the creators of this movement, is any bodily movement produced by the contraction of skeletal muscles that results in a substantial increase in caloric requirements over resting energy expenditure. And so all that means is you're causing a positive stress on your muscles that is causing you to use up energy. That's all that is saying. And so we're trying to produce movement to cause a stimulus, from our muscles, give our muscles a stimulus to cause a reaction or a response. And it's very important to note that there is a difference between exercise and physical fitness. Exercise is a type of physical activity consisted of planned, structured, and repetitive bodily movement done to improve or maintain one or more components of physical fitness. In other words, what that means is exercise is more structured. It's more structured in terms of location, in terms of the type of movements that you do, whether it's weight training, yoga, Zumba, anything like that. There's an order to it, whereas physical fitness can compose of many things, such as carrying groceries, doing laundry, doing the dishes, gardening. So there is a difference between exercise and physical fitness. And so why do we exercise? Can anyone tell me why we exercise? Are there any benefits to exercising? Yep, we exercise to stay fit. That's right. It improves our mental health. Yep. All good answers. Yes. And so it's a way to de-stress. Of course, these are really good. Exercise has a lot of benefits, whether it's physical, mental, emotional. As someone said, it helps to improve mental health. We see reductions in depression and anxiety. Somebody else said, to stay fit, to stay healthy, we see improvements in our cholesterol. It decreases our risk of having cardiovascular heart disease. And so even though those are extreme, those are things we don't think about at our age, in our 20s, long term, if we start exercising now, we are going to be better off. And so exercise has a lot of benefits. And so it's important to keep that in mind when you're exercising. Yes, it's for your body. We always want our exterior to look nice, but always think about, what is it doing to you internally? That's also most important. Now, has anyone heard of the physical activity guidelines? Yes. Okay. So we have a couple yeses and we have some nos. Um, the physical activity guidelines were created by the Department of Health and Human Services to give people a more narrow way to understand, okay, what do I need to do throughout my week to be considered active? And so the way I like to use the physical activity guidelines is as a checklist. And when students come to me for coaching sessions, when I'm done with their exercise prescription, I do send them the physical activity guidelines, and I recommend to them to print it out and put it somewhere where you can see it, whether it's behind your door or in the bathroom, wherever that may be. So that way, at the end of the week, you can ask yourself, did I follow this checklist, and can I check it off? Okay. And so now we're going to go through the physical activity guidelines. So the first one is getting in at least 150 minutes of moderate activity per week. What does moderate mean? Moderate can be brisk walking, it can be gardening, it can even be house chores, such as doing the laundry or doing dishes, maybe kayaking. Hiking can also be considered moderate, depending on the intensity. If it's a flat surface, that's moderate. If there's hills or rocky areas that you have to climb up, that is a little bit more intense. And so if you can get at least 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, that is technically 5 days, 30 minutes in 5 days. But how come I don't say, hey, why don't we say, hey, you have to work out for 5 days for 30 minutes? Well, one, it's because that seems unrealistic. Okay, working out for 5 days or doing some type of activity for 5 days straight for 30 minutes each day seems like a daunting task. And so instead, it's great to say 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, because you can take that 30 minutes and break it up. You can do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, and 10 minutes in the evening. And so that way you can do bouts of exercise throughout your day. If you're sitting in an office, if you are on lunch break, or if you're working from home, you can find time in between your day to do some type of physical activity, whether, again, if it's a house chore or an outside manual labor chore or an actual structured exercise activity. All that can accumulate in minutes for your week. The next one is 75 minutes of high intensity activity per week. So getting in at least 75. If you cannot get the 150 minutes of moderate activity, then strive for at least 75 minutes of high intensity activity per week. And so what is high intensity activity, or what is vigorous activity, which is another word we use? That is more the strength training, the running, the group classes such as Are You Fit or Zumba or Body Pump. Those are all high intense activities because they put more stress or are more high impact on your joints and your muscles. And so again, if you cannot achieve the 150 minutes, what can you do for some part of your day, whether it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes, to be able to achieve 75 minutes a week? The next thing on the list is muscular conditioning at least 2 times a week. And the term you'll see here is muscular conditioning instead of strength training. Why? Muscular conditioning is used because it's a broader term to mean and signify more than just weight training. Okay, it can be body weight training, it can be yoga or Pilates or Tabata, or again, like mentioned earlier, it could be in a gym with dumbbells, barbells, or benches. And so it's important to keep in mind that muscular conditioning does not have to be in a gym. It does not have to be in a weight room. Anything that is high impact that you're able to stress your muscles in is considered muscular conditioning. And you're doing it where you're adding resistance to your body or a stress to your body that's causing a stimulus, and your muscles are responding to that. So it's important to keep that in mind. If you cannot go to a gym or you prefer to work out at home, that's fine. You can do sit-ups, push-ups, body weight squats. All that still constitutes as muscular conditioning. And it's important to try to do that at least 2 times a week. And so when students come to me in the coaching appointments, that is one thing we discuss is how can we fit muscular conditioning into your schedule at least 2 times a week. And we go through a student's schedule to be able to find the time to do that. The last thing on the checklist are achieving 10,000 steps per day for 70,000 steps a week. And so research has shown that, if you cannot get 10,000, but you're at least getting over 6,000, then you are still considered active. So if I have a student who comes to me who's getting less than 5,000 or less than 3,000 steps, then I tell them, okay, we're going to start the goal at 3,000. We're going to work our way to 6,000, and then we're going to work our way to 10,000. Okay. Take everything nice and slow. Okay. Because 10,000 steps is actually very hard. And if you don't have a tracking device to track your steps, that makes it also difficult because a phone is not always accurate. And so if you're noticing that maybe you're not getting enough steps in your day, write down weekly goals. Okay. Maybe you're getting 3,000 steps. Now your goal should be 5,000 steps. If you're getting 5,000 steps, your goal should be 8,000 steps, so on and so forth. So that way you can get 10,000 and above eventually. Now we're going to be talking about barriers to exercise. And so tell me a little bit about what prevents you from exercising. Okay. Yep. Some people are saying motivation, lack of motivation. Others are saying there's no time. Yep. So we're going to be talking about that. Yep. Sometimes, yep, with schoolwork and with work, yep, there's no time. And so that is one thing we'll talk about today is how can we overcome these barriers to be able to have more movement in our day. And so the 4 top barriers that college students say hinder them from working out are lack of time, lack of motivation, lack of knowledge, and lack of accountability. And so can someone tell me who can relate to this? Who does this sound like a barrier that you go through? And if it is, have you found ways to manage it yet? Or if it's not a barrier of yours, what is your secret to overcome it? Okay, awesome. So lack of time is one that someone struggles with, but they were able to work on it by creating a schedule. Another one says that lack of motivation affects them, but they try to find exercises that they enjoy. And so those are really good methods to use when trying to get yourself to exercise or move more. And so we're going to continue talking about that now. We're going to go through each barrier. So the first barrier is time. A 1-hour workout is 4% of your day. Now, there's 24 hours in a day. If you're sleeping for about 6 to 8 of those hours, then that obviously decreases your time for about 18 hours in your day, right? And so how can we how can we make time to do some type of workout? And so the first thing is deciding it's a priority. If you decide that it's a priority, then you're able to better create a schedule for yourself um, in that area. And so you can wake up in the morning, and that is the first thing that you do is do some type of stretching, some type of workout, some type of movement because you've decided it's a priority. If you can't get it in the morning, but you're deciding that it's still a priority in your schedule, where else can you fit it in your schedule to make it work for you? Some people choose during their lunchtime. They go for walks, they eat for maybe 30 minutes, and then they go for walks afterwards. Some people spend time moving at their desk. Some people walk to class. So those are ways that you can add exercise and fit the time. Another way is identifying available time slots. So once you have decided it's a priority, looking at your schedule as a whole in the week and saying, where am I going to have time today? Or where am I going to have time for the rest of the week? When you identify the available time slots, you're able to write it in. And so that means it's concrete and you're able to hold yourself accountable for it, which is another barrier we'll eventually talk about. The other thing is intertwining it with your daily routine. And so the daily routine, if you're going to the grocery stores, you're walking at the grocery stores, you're buying groceries and carrying the bags to your car, and then from your car into your house. That is still considered movement. And so it's really important to realize, again, exercise or movement does not just have to take place in a gym. Okay. And so finding other activities, whether it's riding your bike to class or walking to the park to study, anything like that is going to help you to become more active. And then making it convenient. A lot of research has shown that if you live close to a gym, then you are more likely to go. And so many of you may live on campus at Rutgers. Finding the recreation center that is near you and finding a way that's convenient for you to get there, whether it's walking, whether it's taking a bus or driving your car, whatever works for you, make it convenient and make it work for you. The graph here in the PowerPoint is just showing how the increase in exercise, whether in moderate or vigorous activity, as you increase your exercise time, you will see a decrease in the relative risk of premature death. And so what you see is the first 60 minutes, there is a big reduction. And then after that, it kind of plateaus and flattens out. And so the more you move, the more likely you are to live longer. And so I think that's just really important to realize with time. If you just take a little bit a day and spread out your time, that you will reap the benefits that exercise has in the end, long term. The second barrier is lack of motivation. And so when you work out, no one really says, oh, I've regretted that workout. It's usually the opposite. You usually feel a lot better. You're usually happier, more energetic. You feel good. And so remembering that feeling is going to be really important anytime you're thinking about working out. If you're sitting on the couch or laying on your bed, those first few minutes may be really hard to get up out of bed, right? But if you think back, oh, but on Saturday I worked out. How did you feel on that day that you worked out? If you felt great, you were taking pictures, posting it on your social media, remind yourself of that. So that way you get motivated to get up and do it again. Just like somebody in the chat had said, do what you enjoy. Find activities that you enjoy to be able to work out or to be able to move, whether that's walking outside or hiking or even doing water aerobics, swimming, dancing, whatever that may be. Find an activity that you enjoy and that you can stick to. So that way you have something to look forward to and that motivates you. Again, you don't have to be in a gym setting to move or to get physical activity. And the last thing is challenge yourself. If there's something that you have wanted to try, but you haven't tried, do it. If you love swimming, but you haven't swam in a while, challenge yourself. Go to the Rutgers Recreation pool and go for a swim. If you want to learn to ride a bike, then find someone who can help you ride a bike. If you want to learn to lift weights, find a go to one of the Rutgers orientations, or find someone, a friend who may be a little bit more knowledgeable to help you start that up. When you challenge yourself, that also motivates you. So that way you're adding variety to your activities and you're not as bored. The third barrier is lack of knowledge. And we know that knowledge is power. And so, what are ways that we can look up exercise or things of exercise? What are ways we can utilize our resources to learn more about exercise? Right, exactly. We can use the internet to find credible sources to read more about a specific activity that you want to learn more about. Yes, good answer. Also utilizing the fitness trainers or the personal trainers at Rutgers. So if you're looking to lift weights or if you're looking to learn about a certain activity, again, using the internet is going to be your friend as long as the source is credible and trustworthy. Okay. And so that is one way, reading about it. The second thing is utilizing those around you. So, again, going to the Rutgers uh, orientation, the Rutgers recreation orientations, where they go through the equipment, utilizing the personal trainers, meeting with them, scheduling an appointment with me to talk more about how you can become more active and what type of activities can you add to your schedule. Those are all ways you can increase your knowledge in exercise. And it's useful. It's only going to help you get better. Another thing, again, is recognizing that moving is exercise. It does not, and I emphasize this so much because it's true, it does not have to be in a gym. That doesn't mean I don't want you strength training or lifting weights. I'm a big advocate of that. But if you're not comfortable or if it's still new to you and you're still trying to find someone to help you learn it, what are other activities that you can start with before moving to weights? So that could be body weight squats, that could be push-ups, sit-ups. Those are called calisthenics. And so doing those easier activities that you can learn faster before moving on to the more harder things such as barbell training. And then learning the basics, right? So learning how to stretch first, learning how to do a good warm up, a good cool down, all that is important as well before you start a structured training program. And so if you can learn that first, you're on the path to learning how to stay more active and to exercise. And then lastly, selecting, again, activities that you are comfortable with. If you are comfortable with swimming, if you are comfortable with dancing, if you are comfortable with riding your bike, running, do those activities. Find ways to incorporate that into your schedule, into your daily routine, so that way you can still have fun and be motivated. But then again, challenge yourself by learning something new at the same time. Slowly take it step by step, but one activity on the side and begin to learn it. So that way you have best of both worlds. And the last barrier is accountability. Accountability is about taking care of each other. And so it's not only about what can you do for each other, but it's about what can you do for yourself to hold yourself accountable. And so the first thing is scheduling it. If you schedule it, again, this holds you accountable to stay consistent. When students come to me in the coaching sessions, we go over their schedule day by day. I break it down. I want to know what time they have classes, if they have a job, clubs, organizations, whatever that may be. So that way I can find the gaps in their schedule and we can figure out 2 days that they can start training. The next thing is trying morning workouts. Research has shown that when you work out right in the morning, you're more likely to get it done. This is due to many things, such as your hormones like cortisol being high. And so, with that being said, if you get it done in the morning, you don't have to worry about it later in the day. And so, you get it right out of the way and you don't have to worry about it anymore. The next thing is having a plan B. We all know that things happen throughout our day. If we can't work out in the morning, then you have to tell yourself, okay, something's come up in the morning. I'm going to have to move my workout to after dinner. Or, you know what? I usually work out on Mondays. This week, I'm going to have to move that to Tuesdays because I have a big meeting or just a busier schedule, a test to study for, whatever that may be. Be flexible with yourself, but still hold yourself accountable to be able to move that time. Okay. And then the last thing is make it social. Find people, find an accountability partner or buddy. Find people around you who also want to move more. When you're able to invite others to work out with you or to move with you more, you're more likely to stay motivated and become more consistent. And so finding that friend, telling a family member that you're starting a new program. I always encourage it in my coaching sessions. And our program includes student leaders that helps students stay consistent as well. And so finding someone that is there for you, that you know will hold you accountable, that you know will keep you on track, is also going to be a really good idea. Now, tying it all together, what is next? Now that you have all this information at your hands, now that you've learned something new, or I hope you've learned something new, what is next? The next thing is setting a goal for yourself. Here is an image where it has SMART goals. And so a study in the UK has shown when you process a goal, and make it more specific, when you make it more measurable, when you make it more achievable, realistic, and timely, that you're more likely to stick to that goal and have an outcome. And so, for example, instead of saying, I'm going to work out to lose 10 pounds, say, I'm going to work out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. The research study from UK has shown that people are more consistent and actually follow through on their goal when it's more specific and measurable like that, because it's realistic and timely. And so being able to do that, being able to write that specific goal down and not just think about your weight or think about getting stronger or think about having abs. Figure out, okay, I would like to work out on these days at these times. That will hold you more accountable. That will be more realistic, and you will have a better outcome. And so that will be the first thing I would recommend doing. And this is one thing that we do in the coaching session as well, is okay, here's your goal. Your long-term goal may be to lose weight. How are we going to get there? And I use SMART goals to be able to help the student plan their goal out more efficiently so that they are more effective. Lastly, we are at the end of our presentation. This is my contact information if anybody has any questions. My supervisor, Stacy Trukowski, is also who's the Associate Director of Fitness and Wellness at Rutgers, is also somebody who you can contact if you have any questions, whether it's about our program, whether it's about the personal training at Rutgers. We are here to serve you, and we are here to help in any way possible. If you are interested in signing up for an appointment, you can find us on the Rutgers Recreation website, on the Rutgers Recreation app, RU-Rec2Go, and also the Exercises Medicine Rutgers website as well. And so if there are any questions, you may ask now, but if there's not, then that is all. And I thank you all for coming.